Okay, in this video we're going to get started on the IndexMakerMap Lab. So in this lab you have some sort of document and you're supposed to develop an index that shows a list of the words found in the document and which line number they are found on. So this is similar to, in a textbook where you can look up terms and find what pages in the textbook they are, that kind of practical or real life application. So looking at this input file, so in this particular lab you have an input file and you're going to be writing to an output file. One of the things you'll notice is that all the words are capitalized here in the output file and the index. And another thing you'll notice is that for each one of these words, like fish here, you have a whole list of numbers, right? And so one might choose an array to store these. You could choose an array list, but since we've been talking about maps and sets and trees, you can bet that we are going to use one of those data structures, right? So part of this is deciding what's the best data structure for this list for each word, this list of line numbers, but then also the whole structure itself. What am I going to store all these values? What structure am I going to use to store all these values? So again, before we might have chosen an array list. Maybe for this list of numbers, it's easy to add things. The problem with an array list, though, is when I encounter these words fish twice, I might add the number 1 twice, since fish shows up on line 1 twice. And so a set is actually very nice because I can add things into the set, but if I go to add something that's already there, it just doesn't add it, right? It sends me a Boolean value back indicating it's already in the set, and it won't add a duplicate, which is nice. We can also see the numbers are in chronological order and the words are also in order, and so that might indicate that we're going to be using some sort of tree structure because we want things to be in ordered. So in fact, down here below we can see the actual structure we're going to be using. There's some words here about before in a different lab. We didn't do that in our class, but it will be fine for our purposes that we did not. So the structure that we're going to use to store the entire group of words and their associated sets of numbers, the entire structure we're going to use is a tree map, and that's so that we get the words in alphabetical order when we finally access the map. And then what we're going to put in them is we're going to use a string here for the key, and we're going to use a tree set of integers for the value. So the key is going to be each word, so R will be a key. And if I get the value using that word, I should get just this tree set of that just has one value of 16. If I get the key value fish, I should if I get using the key value fish, I should get the entire tree set of integers with the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 16. So each one of these key values gets its own tree set of integers, and so it is your job to build this entire map and then display it at the end. So tree map already exists. We saw that on our sheet. It implements the map interface. Tree map has put and get and contains key and all these other methods. And so what you're going to be writing is the document index class, which extends tree map. So this document index class already has access to the tree map and all the methods in it. It's just going to add some functionality. And so the main program you're writing is IndexMaker, that's the driver, and it has a document index object in it, which is a tree map. So going to look at the code we can see here is our IndexMakerMap Lab. And then we can see down here that we do, this is the HAZA. We have a document index object. It is called index. And this document index object is created using this class right here, which is embedded within the IndexMakerMap. So this is the class you're writing, and again, it extends tree map. And so it already has a map that I can put things in. Now, eventually I can get things from it, but when this is first created right here, there's nothing in it, right? But you can think about this document index object as a tree map with a key value of string and values of tree sets. And it's a tree map that also has these extra two methods that you are going to write. Okay, so in this method that gets called up here, so up here it sets up a scanner, it sets up an output file, it calls this method, and this method is designed to read in one line from that file, and then it calls one of these methods down here with that document index object. And the idea is that you are putting those words into, you are building the map using those words. So the first method that gets called is this add all words, and the calling object is that document index is down here. So we're in this method, and all this method is going to do is, so it could be passed a line of input. So the first time this would be the line of input, and the idea is that you split that or parse that into 3 separate words rather than one long string. And then for each one of those strings, you decide how to add it to the map, whether it is a new entry in your map or whether you need to get an old entry and update the line numbers. So of course in this first line, 1 is not in the map, but we're going to need to check if it is. And since it's not, we're going to put 1 in the map with line number 1 using a tree set. So the word 1 will be the string key value, and then the number 1, indicating that it's found on line 1, needs to go inside a tree set of integers. So back to the code again, this is just splitting up the string into those 3 words, 1 fish fish, and then one by one in a loop it's going to call this method, and this is the method, this add word method is going to be designed to add the index value for 1 word at a time. So again, when we call this with 1, since it's not already in the map, we want to, with this one, we want to see, we will find that it's not in the map, and we want to put it in the map with the index 1 inside of a tree set. So in here you are past the line number, and it is someone else's job up here. They've already set up the line number, they pass it to you, they pass it to this method, you pass it up. So this is going to have 1. So first I'll get the word 1 with the number 1, and then in a for loop down here I'll call this with fish and 1, and then I'll call it again with fish and 1, and again I'm processing this first line of input. And so in this method, the pseudocode is that if the item is not already in the map, and in order to determine that, you want to be using some of these map commands from the blue sheet. So if the map is not already, or sorry, if the key value is not already in the map, then you need to create a new tree set. You need to put this in the tree set, and then you need to, or add this to the tree set, sorry. And then you want to put this word in with the value of that tree set that has this line number in it. So just to clarify, when you add the line number, right, you're creating a set. The value that goes inside the map is a tree set. So I'm going to make a tree set, and I'm going to add that line number to it. And then once I have the set, that's what I'm going to put into the map. And so you would use the word one, O-N-E, and then this value would be a tree set that contains the number 1. All right, so you will do the same for fish, and you'll almost try to do fish twice, but and I mean that you'll hit it again and you'll try to add fish with 1, but the second time you see this fish, you're going to go ask if it's in the list or in the map, and you'll get a true, that fish is already a key in the map. So the idea is, if the key is already in the map, what you want to do is you want to get that tree set out of the map and add the current line number to it. Now in this case, I'll be adding a number 1 again, but luckily these numbers are in a tree set, so it won't add that, right? Because I don't add duplicates to a tree set. So a better example is, remember this 1. After this first line executes, all that's in my tree map for 1 is this, the number 1, and then the value would just be a tree set with the number 1 in it. Well, when I get down here to line 11, and I hit the word 1, and I ask in that method if this is already in the tree, I'll get a true. And so what I can do is use the get for the tree map using the specified key, which is the word, and it will give me back the value. And remember, for our map, the value is an entire tree set. So when I say give me the tree set for the word 1, it's going to give me this little tree set that has the number 1 in it, and all I simply need to do is add this line number to that tree set. So then at that point I will have in my map 1, 1, 11. When I get to line 14, I'll do the same thing, and I'll add the number 14 to the existing tree set. Keep in mind that you need to skip these blank lines somehow. You'll notice that you'll get some extraneous values in here if you don't skip those. This line also gives you a little headache, not a headache, but just a little glitch with the split. It doesn't quite split it as well as you'd like. So again, you may need to add to your code somewhere to skip some blank lines, or to skip some words that don't have a length bigger than 0, that kind of thing. Once those two are done, they're relatively short methods, then the only other job you have to do is to print the contents to an output file. To do that, you do need to set up an iterator or a for each loop to traverse your tree map, which is in the index object. So you can see that in the prior notes for map, how to traverse the map. And rather than saying system.out.println, you can just say output file.println, and it will write it out to this output file. So I'll leave that up to you to set up the iterator and get it to print to the output file correctly. The output file name is right here. Sometimes that can get a little glitchy and you need to delete it or close it before you open it again. Just if you feel like it's not updating the output file, definitely delete this file from your folder and then run the program again, and it will create it each time. I think that is about it for this. That should be enough for you to get started. So good luck. Happy coding.